I heard that you have a list of the top 5 players in NBA history. Your list. And it omits somebody that I mean, to me, it's blasphemy that he wouldn't be on the list. But I want you to let the world know what your list is of the top 5 players in NBA history as far as you're concerned.
My top 5.
Yes, sir.
My top 5.
Your top 5.
Well, Stephen, this is an emotional choice. Okay, so there's no analytics associated with it. And as a matter of fact, probably the last 40 years, the last 50 years are not a part of it. Because I made this decision when I was a teenager.
Oh.
You see? So,
okay.
So I was 14, 15, and this is what I saw. And I saw Bill Russell, I saw Wilt Chamberlain, Elgin Baylor.
Speak up so they can hear you.
Elgin Baylor, who is my favorite, Oscar Robertson, and Jerry West. That became my top 5 as a teenager. And they have remained my top 5. So even as good as the great ones are, they got to be on the second team. They got to be on the third team.
But
that's my
Dr.
first team.
J, Doc Julius Erving, we evolve. We grow. We see more evidence. We expand our horizons. I mean, first of all, I personally am sick and tired of seeing an NBA silhouette in the form of Jerry West. I believe it should be in the form of MJ, Michael Jordan. 6 rings, 6 tries, unblemished in an NBA Finals. Never even allowed the Finals to get to Game 7. So to me, I start off there, and you got Chamberlain and Russell? Doesn't it have to be one of them?
No, it doesn't have to be one of them. It's my top 5. This is an emotional choice. Can I like what I like?
Yes,
you can do.
If I like apples and you like oranges, well, have an orange.
But again, he's qualified this by saying these were his 5 favorite players when he was a teenager. Right. Correct? I mean,
they were the 5 best in the game, you know. And when top 5 discussions come up, Mount Rushmore comes up, or whatever, I just step aside because I kind of eliminate myself from being an expert at this. You guys are the experts, quote unquote.
Well, I think you are the expert.
So do I.
You are the doctor. Okay, so give us...
But I'm going to be prejudiced.
Okay, forget about your favorite players and give us your Mount Rushmore. And feel free to put the doctor on there.
I try to stay out of that conversation.
You don't want to...
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there are 2 players who were completely unique in basketball history. Pete Maravich.
He was, I agree.
And present company. Okay? And
all right,
much had to do
with
the route in which I took, you know, which was leaving school early, 2 years in Virginia, 3 years in Long Island, going back to the hometown. Hint, hint. It's a good thing to do, going back to your hometown.
Right.
You know, because you can make a difference in your community.
Right.
And the 3 years with the Nets, with a couple of championships there, and with the economic, private-public partnerships that we've done in Long Island continuously since that time, you know, going back home was great. So I definitely empathize with LeBron.
That's where we're
going
take
back
you
home.
there. Yeah.
Right.
What do you think
can
about
totally
that?
relate to it.
Yeah.
Not the first time it's happened. A lot of guys are going back home.
Okay.
So it's not the first time, but it's the biggest story because social media and the fact that, you know, the times in which we live. I mean, everybody's business is in the street.
Yes.
So, where were we?
What do you feel?
Let me ask, before we leave this behind.
Okay.
Just give us your perspective so that I don't think that the doctor needs a doctor on this, okay? On Michael Jordan. Just your view of Michael's career. Just put it in some wide-ranging perspective from your eyes.
Okay. Michael probably won't replace Bill Russell as the greatest champion because nobody's going to do that.
11,
he won 11.
11 rings. Yeah.
Sam won 10. You know, Sat Sanders won 8. John Havlicek won 8. So every time they throw the ring conversation out there, why do you leave these guys out? You know, how can you not acknowledge 11 out of 13 championships? Okay, so is it modern era versus the initial era of basketball or the second era of basketball? I think even Mikan had, you know, a number of championships. So Michael caught it at the right time, and he's sort of the greatest, like Ali. You know, I've declared such certain things, and I've validated. And what he did against the guys who he did it against, you know, that was probably the most competitive era in the history of basketball. Much more competitive than present, and maybe during Russell's time when it was 8 teams. And then, I mean, when I came into pro basketball, there were 14 NBA teams, and there were 9 ABA teams. So now there's 30. It should be more competitive, but the actuality is it's probably more diluted. So different eras create different scenarios in people's minds, but fact is fact. So don't say Michael's the greatest because of 6 rings or Robert Horry is the greatest because of 7 rings. Don't make that the only criteria.
Okay, what if you forget about the rings? Who's the greatest player?
I go back to my favorites once again. I got 2 favorites. You want to know?
Yes.
Who would I pay to see?
Yeah.
Tiny Archibald, George Gervin.
Okay.
Woo. The Iceman.
That's it. I'll go in my pocket, shell out dough to see those guys play.